All right, let's get started, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. We're really excited to talk to you about our housing justice grants. If you haven't yet, if you can put your name, your organization, your city and county in the chat, that would be great. My name is Jess Hudson. I'm an ambassador for United Way Bay Area. I am in San Mateo County.
I'm Jamie Kearns, and I'm a Sparkling Ambassador from Solano County.
Hi, my name is Rachel Reese, and I'm an ambassador from Santa Clara County.
So before we get started on the exciting stuff, let's do a little bit of housekeeping. If you have questions, please submit them in the chat. Make sure you're muted. We're going to do our best to address all questions. If there's a question that only applies to your organization, you can submit them to the email address you see on the screen. And if your questions were not addressed by the end of the presentation, please raise your hand and we'll make sure that we get to them. So let's talk a little bit about United Way Bay Area's mission and vision. We bring together partners from nonprofit, business, and government sectors in the Bay Area to address poverty. We partner across sectors. We're developing solutions, capturing data, and then we use those insights to support public policy and create research-backed community initiatives. And our vision is an equitable Bay Area where all people have the opportunities and resources they need to thrive. And our mission is to mobilize the Bay Area to dismantle root causes of poverty, build equitable pathways to prosperity. And we do this through initiatives and policy change. We provide immediate and long-term support for employment, housing, financial stability, and meeting basic needs. As part of our commitment to address poverty and support Bay Area residents and achieving stability and prosperity, United Way Bay Area introduced our housing justice initiative here. You can check out more information on the website. We hope that you will. And I'll tell you a little bit about who we are. My name is Jess Hudson, and I'm an ambassador with United Way Bay Area. And we are on a new advisory body that integrates community voice and client voices like our own into the programs, the grant making, advocacy, and fundraising efforts. And we have been working really hard over the past several months to discuss how we want to grant funds to advance housing justice in the Bay Area. And so that's what we're going to present to you today.
So for our request for proposals, right now, we're accepting requests from Bay Area agencies to advance the Housing Justice Initiative. So we're dealing with the counties of Alameda, Contra Costa, Marin, Napa, San Francisco, San Mateo, Santa Clara, and Solano. And so we're really looking for 3 focus areas. Organizations can apply for more than one opportunity, but only one grant will be selected. So here's our 3 focus areas. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of time to kind of read through it, and then I'll sum it up. So let me just give you a quick 30 seconds. So what we were looking to do is we're looking to provide people who are already housed. We wanted to continue with that. So some people fall into the cliffs of they don't qualify for certain things, but they don't make enough money. So we wanted to make sure we captured those. Also, people who were unsheltered, and we wanted to try to help them get to more permanent housing. So we were looking at services should include 1 to 3 months to help them. So that'll lead to more stable housing for them. And then of course, people who are either families or single people that are moving into a new place. So this could also include security deposit as well as first and last month if it's applicable. So let me give you a few minutes to kind of look at that and maybe ask any questions you have. It looks like our group is small enough that you can go ahead and just unmute and ask them, or you can put it in the chat.
I'll go ahead and read the questions from the chat.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Does the first focus area apply to organizations who prioritize the policy changes compared to the rental assistance?
I'm gonna ask for help on this one. I think it does, but Anna or Kevin, do you want to confirm that?
Yeah, so the focus area of the first option is on direct support as opposed to policy. We're looking to fund direct support.
Yeah, I would just add it's probably the other way around, Jillian. We're prioritizing the rental assistance over policy, but there could be a few around policy changes that we end up funding, but it sounds like the group is leaning more towards the direct assistance, as Kevin mentioned.
Thank you. And it's probably just easier for me to jump in vocally instead of trying to figure out how to word this to type it. Does the rental assistance that you're looking for preclude services to help support residents in their, for example, negotiating with their landlords, or are you looking for only monetary assistance?
I think primary would be monetary, but I don't know. I don't necessarily think that the support idea is a bad idea. It probably could get funded. So I would say just go ahead and apply.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, if you have any other questions, feel free to go ahead and email them or put it in.
Mary
the-
Lynn has raised
Okay.
her hand. You can go ahead, ask your question.
Okay, thank you. The financial assistance, the last one, to house families and single people that are moving to a new place. So is there assistance for them to move to the new place? Or would they fall under the other categories?
I think I can answer that. So this would be assistance to help them move into their new place, like the security deposit, first and last month's rent.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be directly, assisting people with the expenses of moving into a new place. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, and is that just a one-time assistance or is that any length of time? It's just the one time, right? The first month's rent and the deposit, right?
Yeah. I believe
For
so.
that, yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Sure. Are there any other questions?
Okay, well, we're hoping to fund at least, we're hoping to get to 10 organizations at $25,000 each. So that's our goal. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Rachel.
Hi, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, my name is Rachel Reese, and I'm the ambassador from the Santa Clara County, and I will be talking about eligibility. So organizations must be a 501c3 community-based organization to apply. Organizations must serve one or more of the following Bay Area counties: Alameda, Contra Costa, Marin, Napa, San Francisco, San Mateo, Santa Clara, and Solano. Organizations that do not currently have a memorandum of understanding with United Way Bay Area are encouraged to apply. So the selection criteria is all proposals that meet requirements of this request for proposals and are submitted by the deadline will be considered based upon the materials provided. United Way Bay Area ambassadors, we will select applicants who best fit the priorities outlined in the opportunities above and make selections based on the criteria below. And those criteria are as follows: the proposal's alignment with the 3 focus areas of the RFP, which was read earlier, that provide financial assistance and services to keep people housed. That's number 1. Number 2, provide financial assistance and services to transition unsheltered individuals and families to move to more permanent housing. And number 3, provide financial assistance to house families and single people that are moving into a new place. Those are the 3 focus areas. The experiences and expertise of the organization, the project's likelihood of achieving the desired outcome of the project with the budgeted cost, the project's ability to address disparities for BIPOC, which means Black, Indigenous people of color, the project's ability to target single adults as well as families that fall off the benefits cliff or fall within those guidelines. So anyone have any questions regarding eligibility or selection criteria? If not, we're gonna move on to applications. Is everyone still there?
Yep.
Are there any questions so far? Anyone see any questions in the chat?
We do have
Yeah.
one question in the chat. Would government agencies like social services be eligible to apply?
If they're not a 501c3, the answer to that would be no. Because it's supposed to be community-based organizations. I believe Social Security is funded by the government. Does that answer your question?
Feel free to unmute yourself if you'd like. It's a small group, so we've got some time for that.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Marilyn, did you have another question?
If there's no more questions, the next
We have,
ambassador.
I think, a couple of raised hands, but I can't see who's raising their hand. So
S. Moore is raising her hand, and Mary Lynn's hand is up, but I'm not sure if she wants it up.
Yeah, well, you can go ahead with Sandra. I was just going to ask for her, but you
Oh,
go ahead.
thank you, Marilyn. Yes, just curious on for United Way process, if there is a 501(c)(3) that is eligible for these things, such as the Spark Point in Fremont. Are some of these eligibilities been changed since the pandemic rent relief processes, and more specifically, AB 2179 for the most recent rent moratorium and evictions? Is there
Okay.
new policies in place for this?
So Kevin, can you answer that?
Can you ask your question again?
Basically, for the eligibility, have any of the policies been changed due to the pandemic and the emergency rent reliefs through various organizations? Has this changed, and more specifically, given that AB 2179 with the rent moratorium evictions has passed?
And are you asking specifically to these grants or rent relief in general?
Well, thank you for bringing that up. I would be interested in both now to hear about it.
Yeah, the eligibility, we determined the eligibility for these grants. The United Way Bay Area ambassadors determined the eligibility for that. To your specific question, I'm not sure about the assembly bill.
Okay. I'll go ahead and put this into the assembly bill. It is fairly new. It does affect a good amount of California. Depends on, I guess, the county that one may be in right now, whether they're continue to be protected or not. But I'll go ahead and put that in the chat so that if anyone's interested, you can read the actual bill. It'll take some time. So, but can I suggest that we take a look at applying other policies with respect to policies for applying for this need?
Yeah, send the email to housingjustice@uwba.org and we can discuss further.
Okay, can you type that into the chat?
Yeah, it's gonna be up on the slide, but I will type it in the chat as well.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for that question.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Did we have another question on eligibility and selection criteria?
I don't see anything in the chat, and I see no raised hands except Sandra's.
Will we be moving on to application?
Go ahead, Rachel.
For application?
Yes.
Okay, so for application, the proposal should be submitted through this online form by April 29th. And that on the online form and application should include the following: contact information, provide your name, title, phone number, and email for the best contact person for follow-up questions and or to notify grant status. Also provide your organization name, EIN number, website, address, and the name and contact information of your executive director or organization leader who is authorized to sign on behalf of the agency. We also will need the organization summary and history. Provide a summary of your organization as well as recent successes. How long have you helped families? What are the results of the families and individuals your organization has helped? Also, program and project description and plan. Describe the project for which you seek funding and detail your plan for how you would use the funds by responding to the following. What is your vision for this project? How will you use the funds? What steps or measures will you implement to realize your vision? Process procedure for families. Provide a thorough explanation of the following questions. What is the process for helping individuals? What information is collected from them? How would an individual or family access services for this project? And the impact and results. Describe the outcomes you hope to achieve and describing the ultimate goal of your project. The budget and costs. Provide a breakdown of anticipated program and project expenses, as well as other sources of revenue of the project. Indirect costs will be capped at 20%. IRS 501c3 determination letter. We also will need the IRS Form 990 and the most recent financial audit. Organizations requesting over $50,000 will be required to submit their most recent financial audit, financial review, or financial statements. But we only will be giving out funding 10 organizations at $25,000 each. So far, so good. Everyone understand that part for the application? Do anybody see any hands raised or questions?
No. Does anybody have any questions? You can raise your hand or you can unmute and ask your question now. Okay, I think we can move on.
Okay. So for deliverables and reporting, what we want from the organizations that apply are the following. But before I get to that, organizations that are awarded an Ambassador Housing Grant are required to use the funds for housing-related activities to help individuals and families. Organizations will be asked to provide a mid-year and final report that includes responses to the following questions that I am about to read. We would like to know, how did the funding benefit families? Please also share stories or testimonies from individuals or families who benefited from the funding. We also, did someone want to say something?
We do have a question in the chat. It says, it sounds like you want us to ask specifically for 25,000. Is that correct?
Yes, because we are going to grant 10 organizations 25,000 apiece. Does that answer your question? Because the total amount of funding is $250,000, so we will fund 10 organizations at $25,000 each.
That does answer their question. Are there any other questions
Okay.
before we continue? Okay, Rachel, you can go right ahead.
Okay, thank you. A couple of other things that we will need from the organizations that are applying is, how was the funding used? We would like you to please submit expenses incurred to date. How many people did you serve? Provide a description of families served. And what outcomes were achieved? How does it compare to your original plans? And we would like for you to share any challenges experienced during the process. Were there families who you were not able to support? And as ambassadors, we may ask you to present at the end of the grant year who benefited from the project. Any questions on what we are expecting for reporting back to us?
No questions. And just to make sure everybody saw it in the chat, the deadline is April 29th.
Should I move on, or is that your part? Yes. The
This is me.
timeline.
So
Okay.
we're gonna answer some questions now, and if you guys have any more questions after that, we'll make sure to get to them. Can an organization that applied for United Way Bay Area housing RFP that was released in January apply for this? And the answer is, applying for the UWBA housing grant does not preclude you from applying for this one. You will hear about the status of your application in the next few weeks. Do I apply for all 3 funding categories? Can I apply for multiple? And we're thinking these are more funding priorities than categories. They each have a cap. Any project has to hit on 1 or more of the priorities. So in the application, you can select your project's primary focus. Can we apply through a fiscal sponsor? Yes, you can. And can public entities apply? This is limited, like we've said, to 501c3 organizations. What do you mean by those who fall off the benefits cliff? There's no strict income amounts, but we're generally referring to those who may no longer qualify for certain public supports because their income or savings is too high, yet they're struggling to make ends meet. So there are a lot of families who maybe make too much for federal safety net programs, but based on your county's poverty line, are still struggling, and we're hoping to help that population. Are you limiting awards to new grantees? Existing and new partners of UWBA are encouraged to apply. If there are any other questions, we would love to take them now. You can type it in the chat, or you can raise your hand. We do have a question. What is the AMI 30, 50, 80? Kevin, do you want to take that one? Or Anna, if you want to.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Sorry. There's no strict AMI.
And then we have a question. Are all the slide pages you're showing us today available to review at the UWBA website?
We can make them available.
Are there any other questions we can answer? If you think of a question that you don't have right now, you can submit it to housingjustice@uwba.org, and we'll make sure to get back to you. All right, well, it looks like that's all the questions. Oh, here, we got another one. Can you place the web portal to apply?
Yes.
All right, link is in the chat.
I have a question. If, could we use the money if we wanted to build out housing for people that are at their end of their life?
I think as long as it fits in with those priorities that we have, I don't see why not.
Because they're gonna be mostly seniors, right? Well, they don't have to be, but they could be.
Right. I think as long as it fits within those priorities, they're falling off the cliff, they're unhoused and need more stable housing, or they need to move. If it fits within those priorities, just apply.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay, and in the chat, do we submit a budget of the project we apply for?
Yes, that is.
Can I, you want me to answer that?
Go ahead.
Yes, so in the application process, when you use the online form by April 29th, the budget and cost, we would like you to provide a breakdown of anticipated program and project expenses, as well as other sources of revenue of the project. But indirect costs will be capped at 20%.
And then another question. Sorry, go ahead, Rachel.
I was like, does that answer their question? So in other words, it's yes, we would like the budget and the costs provided in the application.
Follow-up question to that, but in our own form? Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, you answered that?
Yes.
Okay. And then the
Yeah,
next
the
question.
online.
Sorry, go
Okay.
ahead, Rachel.
No, I was just saying, they submit all of that on the online form. You can go ahead, Jeff.
Okay, I mean, is there a template budget you want us to use? Oh, okay, question answered. Looks like we've got that one down. Okay, and then the next question is, can the funds also apply to tiny home villages or ADUs?
Answer would be yes.
Okay, it looks like that's all the questions we've got. Thank you all so much for taking the time. We're really excited about this project. We're excited to read your applications and see the incredible work that you'll be able to do with it. And again, if you have any other questions, any other help that you need, please reach, oh, here we go. We got a raised hand. Please make sure that, you reach out via that email address and so we can continue to work with you. Do we still have a raised hand? It looked like maybe it went away. You can go ahead and unmute yourself if you've got a question or
I
a
think
comment.
she just by mistake still has her hand up.
It happens. All right. I don't see any other questions.
Guys, so
Yeah.
much.
Here we go. We can ask questions on the website right up to submittal. Sure, we encourage that. Yes. Ask away. Okay. It looks like that's all of the questions. Oh, here we go. I'm so glad you guys are asking more questions. Keep this up, please. Is this program available only to California and which counties? It is
Okay.
limited to Bay Area counties. Rachel, do you want to list
Yes.
those again?
Yes, so it is just California and the counties in the Bay Area that is eligible is Alameda, Contra Costa, Marin, Napa, San Francisco, San Mateo, Santa Clara, and Solano. Those are the counties that are eligible in the Bay Area in California. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Thank you for that question.
Any other burning questions or happy to answer them? Okay. Well, I think we're going to go ahead and end the webinar then. Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us today and talk about it. If you do have any additional questions, feel free to stay on and we'll be on for a bit longer to answer them. But otherwise, we hope you have a great evening. Stay cool. It's supposed to be hot tomorrow. And we're really looking forward to reading your applications and doing some great work together. So thank you again so much for coming.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.